What's up guys, my name is Matthew and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of the year. I know most people usually film this in December. My year is a little different because I started being an avid reader due to COVID. Before COVID, I would probably only read about 10, 12 books a year. The past year, I read over like 90 books, which is crazy for me because I had never before read that amount of books, but now I was working from home, found BookTube, opened my eyes to a new world out there. So today, I'm gonna talk about a few of the books that I like. Some of them are very popular. If you haven't heard of them, where have you been? And then I think a couple of them are probably not as popular, but I'm gonna talk about all of them because they were some of my favorites of the year. You're on camera, look fucking cute. Pretend like you like me, please, smile. Act like you like me. So the first book I'm gonna be talking about is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And I picked this book, it was hard because I like all four of his books, Lock Every Door, The Last Time I Lied, and Final Girls. I read all of them during quarantine in the past year, and I'm obsessed with this author. The most recent books, Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, what I like the most about them is that while you're reading it, you don't know if you're reading a horror book or if you're reading a thriller book or some kind of combination. Because those two books, there's a lot of paranormal things that happen and you don't really know what's going on. You don't know if there are monsters or ghosts involved or if there's some logical explanation. And that's what makes these books so fun. First two books, The First Time I Lied, I think that's what it's called, and Final Girls is more of a thriller and you know it's a thriller while you're going through it. But his last two books I am obsessed with. This book is about a girl named Maggie who moved into a place called Banbury Hall when she was very, very little. And weird things started happening when her mom and dad and they all lived there when she was very young. And apparently they all fled from the house because of all the spooky, horrible things that were happening. Her dad actually wrote a book explaining all the paranormal things that happened in this house. We kind of jumped forward and now we're in the present and Maggie inherited the house and she has to go back. And when she goes back, she kind of starts to experience some paranormal activity. People from the past start showing up. In this book, we're reading from two separate timelines. One, from the book, Maggie's dad's book, explaining the paranormal activity. And then we're jumping to the present with Maggie coming back to the house because she now inherits it. But while she's there, some things start happening. And guys, this was so much fun. If you have not read this book, what are you doing? I don't want to spoil anything, but I finished this book in like a night because I was so obsessed I needed to know what was happening. His new book, Survive the Night, actually just came out yesterday. So I have that ordered and should be coming here every day. And I'm super excited. I'll probably do a reading vlog on that one. The second book I'm going to discuss is not shocking at all. I'm pretty sure it's on everyone's list of favorite books of all time. It's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And oh my God, this book is so freaking good. If you haven't read this book, if you're one of the few people in this world who haven't read it, what are you doing? This book is about the famous starlight, Evelyn Hugo, and just through her life, and we get to meet, of course, her 7 husbands. I think there's a twist in this book, and I did not know about it going into this book, and I'm not gonna say what it is because I really enjoyed not knowing this twist. It's not even a twist in the real sense. I didn't know an aspect about this book, and I'm glad I didn't know going in because I was shocked and it made this book so awesome. Currently, I'm actually reading Taylor Jenkins Reid Malibu Rising, which is kind of a spin-off from this book where it follows one of her husband's kids, about 100 pages in on that. This is one of the best books of all time. I did not like Daisy Jones. I DNF'd it twice. I tried the audiobook. Don't come for me, but it was not for me. So this book is about a girl named Monique who gets a call from the famous Evelyn Hugo. And Evelyn Hugo wants to give her her life story. And Monique is very confused. Why? Because she's just a regular journalist. And why does the famous woman in Hollywood history want me to do her interview? So we fluctuate from the present, where Evelyn Hugo is an older woman sitting at her mansion discussing to Monique all of her different husbands and all the lies and the secrets and all of the things that the press does not know. And then we're flashing backwards from the 1950s, I think is when we start, going through her career where she started out as a nobody and kind of built up her career, and to the 1980s when she decided to leave show business and kind of go off the grid. And we learn at the end of the book why she wants to tell Monique. I kind of guessed why Monique was chosen. A lot of people don't think it's obvious. I thought that it was fairly obvious because I couldn't think of another rational reason why she would have picked Monique. And of course, reading thrillers often, the whole time I'm like, why Monique? Why Monique? Why did you pick her? Even though that's not the point of the book at all. I can't praise this book enough. If you haven't read it, please, please, please read this book. I recommend this book to all my friends and family, even if they aren't big readers, and I have never met someone who was not obsessed with this book. The next book I'm going to talk about is Defending Jacob. I read this in one day. I remember waking up on a Saturday at like 10 a.m. and I casually just picked this book up and decided I was going to start reading it, and I read it from 10 a.m. to like 11, 12 a.m. in the morning. This is a crime thriller. Is it a crime thriller? It's a crime thriller with a lot of domestic issues and a lot of family issues. And what I think makes this so interesting is there's a lot of family dynamics at the core of this book on top of all of the crime going around. In this book, we have an assistant district attorney, I think his name is Andy, and there's a murder. And after things start coming out, his 14-year-old son is the main suspect, Jacob, and Jacob is accused of killing another boy at his school. This book delves into how he is handling his son being accused, whether he trusts his son, who's telling the truth, how this is affecting his relationship with his wife. And I think the dynamic between all of the people in this book is what really brings it together. Obviously, it's a good mystery. Did Jacob kill the boy? Which is the main question of the book. But it's so much deeper than that. And I highly recommend this book. Even if you aren't a big on crime thrillers, I think most people would enjoy this book. It is on Apple TV. I think it's a TV show on Apple TV. I did watch it. The endings are different. So if you have seen the Apple TV show and this, the endings are different. And I absolutely love the ending for this. Some people hate it and I love it. I just ate it all up and you're just like, whew, okay. So Defending Jacob by William Landry, definitely recommend. I'm gonna talk about The Bright Lamps by John Fram. And this book was so much fun. It was how do I describe this book? It's a gay horror book. Yes, a gay horror book. And when I say this book is gay, it is gay. This book is about a boy named Joel who lived in a small, very conservative town in Texas, and he moved away to go to New York. But he's coming back in town, and when he comes back in town, his little brother Dylan goes missing. And this book revolves around Joel trying to figure out what happened to his brother while unleashing a few secrets in the town. What's so fun about this book is every character you meet, and there are a lot of characters, seem like they're hiding something, and it makes you not trust anyone. And I remember reading a Goodreads review, and it said, wow, when I got to that twist, my jaw dropped. And when I was reading this book, I kept waiting and thinking, is this that twist that the person on Goodreads was talking about? Let me tell you, if you're reading this book and you have to ask yourself, is this the twist Matthew was talking about? It's not the twist. When you get to the twist, you're gonna be like, what the fuck am I reading? I was literally taking pictures of the pages and sending them to my friends who don't read because my jaw was on the ground. I could not stop laughing. I was just, it was so awesome. Awesome. It was so much fun. One critique I had of this book was that there is a paranormal element to it that I did not think was necessary at all. I was very upset about it because I was like, why did you throw this paranormal element to this book that was so good? But then I later read something from the author who said it's an analogy for something. I'm not going to say what it is to spoil anything, but if you do read this book and you're like, why is there this weird paranormal element to it? That was so not necessary. Do some Googling, read what the author has to say. I've read a bunch of thoughts from other authors who had some critiques and had some ideas about what this paranormal element was supposed to represent. So it did kind of come together in the end, but when I was reading it, I was like, why did you throw that in there? This book was so good and it did not need that weird paranormal element at the very end. Like I said, it's very gay, so fun. I'm definitely gonna reread this year because I had so much fun reading it and I cannot wait to see what else this author's gonna release. It is a bit longer for a thriller. It's about 450 and most thrillers are usually around like 350. But it was worth it because the atmosphere in this book was bomb. I felt like I was in this small little conservative town in bumfuck Texas. So much fun. That was over the top. Next, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And if you have not read this book also, what are you doing? I almost didn't put this in here because I was like, okay, everyone loves this book. But I actually read this book twice during quarantine. That's how much I loved it. The book is about Alex, who is the son of the first female president of the United States, and him meeting Henry, the Prince of England, and their love relationship. That sounds cheesy, that sounds corny, and this book is so cute. And I heard that Amazon bought the rights to it, and they're gonna make it, quote unquote, Crazy Rich Asians meets Love, Simon, and I am fucking here for it. Amazon, do not screw this up because this book is so cute and so good. The chemistry, the tension, oh my God, it's so good, so freaking good. Can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we are meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through? Okay, well, it's not that intense, calm down. But it was so good and I highly recommend this if you haven't read it. The last book I'm gonna talk about is Scythe by Neil Fusterman. This book is a young adult dystopian, I think, and it revolves around a future where humans do not get sick, humans do not die, but we have these people called Scythes, and Scythe's job are to randomly and unbiasedly pick people to kill, or glean. I think the term's glean, and they randomly choose people and decide to kill them. Almost said a spoiler, I had to read to see if you know this from the start. This book is about Citra and Rowan, who are chosen to be apprentices to learn how to become Scythes. So you have to go through this apprenticeship school to learn how to be a Scythe by following somebody who's already a Scythe and follow them and learn how to kill people appropriately, and you learn how to, all the different ways you can kill people and how to do it respectfully. And this book is so much fun. This, mark my words, is gonna be the next Hunger Games, the next Twilight book that everyone knows about. I'm pretty sure Universal owns the rights to this book, and I think it is in production or early production to becoming a film series. Don't quote me on that. I remember reading that when I first started reading this book. But this book is so good. If you want a good series, fast and easy to read while also very thought-provoking. There are some twists and turns that I'm not gonna get into because I would spoil it, but it's not an easy ride for Citra and Rowan. So many fun facts about the Sith. When you become a Sith, your parents are immune to becoming killed by the Siths. There's all kinds of little special roles. The Sith world is like a bureaucracy where they have higher powered Siths, and they have a headquarters over here, and there's Siths from different parts of the world who have different styles, and it is so good, and I highly recommend it. It might actually be pronounced Scythe, but like, I don't know, don't come at me. Those are the best books I read during quarantine. I read so many more, and it was very hard for me to choose, but I wanted to make a short video just kind of documenting my favorites. One, so you can get kind of an idea of the kind of books that I do like to read, because I do tend to read mostly thrillers, literary fiction, with a few romances. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video doesn't look like it's from 1996 like my other video. Okay, bye.